because my husband was so intentional about making sure that there was enough content.
Amazing how quickly Erica bounced back, and it's only been 2 weeks. Yeah. What bullshit. She's such bullshit. While everybody puts her on a pedestal as, oh, she's such an amazing, strong woman. Oh, please. Please. Look, all this is the student group is most important to whoever the money is behind the radical left and radical right. That those people don't care what side they have to get a hold of. They don't. Charlie Kirk only came out and started talking about the Bible, something he knew very little about, which is fine, but he ran around this country and made it seem like he was such an expert at it. And now that we have the right-wing media that's placed him on the prophet status, it's like they're as horrible as the left, all of them. Don't care what anybody says. It's the same problem as what was going on with the left. So Erica has an army behind her. And I said this recently, so I thought, well, then I can understand why Trump has to address it. But at this point, especially given his statements, I think he's just embraced it. So that's why I've lost respect again for him. I know, I go back and forth because he goes back and forth, right? So I look, at the end of the day, I follow the Holy Spirit, so not man. I pray about these things, and does that mean there would have been a better choice than Trump? No. It just me. I just see no point in voting. I don't think these people care if you do vote. They only care about the young. That's why they're obvious too, because that's all the left cared about. They only cared about the young. They don't, once you reach a certain age, that's why they would go after the baby boomers. It shows such low class. Charlie Kirk showed such low character in that regard. So then when I hear the Trumps carry on about what a wonderful person he was, it's like, stop it. All right. God respects people being genuine. Yeah. Maybe somebody should remind the Trumps of that. But anyway, he did the same thing, but on the right. So when obviously the powers that be behind the left and the right saw that the country was moving more right, they got Charlie Kirk in there to get a hold of these college campuses. And sadly, he didn't. It was in the beginning. It wasn't until 2020 he started talking about faith, and only because that the power behind all of it knew that the country itself on social media was talking heavily about faith. So then all of a sudden he starts adding it. Yet he had the biggest parts wrong. He showed that he was an agenda. And so most people would say, but at least it's better than the far left. Okay, well, you should go by what Jesus teaches, okay? And maybe somebody should remind the Trump administration of this. Not that they would listen, they're just all in that. But is that Jesus said whatever starts out that it's rooted in, that if it's rooted in darkness to begin with, which Turning Point was, it was designed to go into the high schools back when you didn't even know much about it. That's how early they got him in doing this, because the powers that be just want control. So they need the best way for control is they don't care about the older people, they don't care about the elderly, it's all about the young people. That's how selfish the country's become. And Charlie Kirk helped promote that when he carried on about everything being the baby boomers' fault. Did any of the Trumps come out against that? Of course not. Of course not. And yet it's like I'm supposed to continually think that you're on the up and up when you never come out and say you never show that you can take a position that is one of righteousness. No, I mean, Kim, Tucker Carlson, they ran around and, I mean, the baby boomers are elderly. It was cruel. Cruelty should be called out. Charlie Kirk pushing that narrative and now being put on some pedestal as a prophet and saint is bullshit. But they can build all the idols they want to at the White House of him. I don't care, or at the Capitol. Just shows why, this country needs saving. But God used the theme, Jesus used the theme throughout his ministry, throughout the New Testament, of the trees, the branches, the soil, the fruit, okay? To say that if it's rooted in corruption to begin with, it's not going to then turn around and produce good fruit. It's going to produce more bad. He said this over and over again. It was the theme he used so that you knew what his criteria was, so that you would know who they are. Again, it's all about the deeds. So she has a total army behind her now, saying that there's all of these, like a lifetime, more than a lifetime, of just all of this video that she has that people have never seen of Charlie. How convenient. Talk about an antichrist. That's actually what's run through my mind, is it's like an antichrist. It's all she's doing is she has this army, sadly these college students, it was great they were engaging in conversation. College kids always like to, debate. But they fell for the same thing the left was doing, but they fell for it on the right. Most people, again, would say, but it's better on the right. No, it's not. Not if you follow Jesus's criteria. It's not. It's not. It's still deception. It's all of this is deception. If you need to understand this better, go read the JFK files. It's all about getting a hold of student groups. So when they saw they were losing in the left area and that people were moving more to the right, they got a hold of that long ago, because they could recognize that this pendulum was going to swing back. So Charlie Kirk, that's what he was groomed for. And I had read recently too that he had some chip on his shoulder, so he was more than willing to go in and do all this. Yeah. So the reason he had the twitching, I don't know if people noticed that. Usually he would always suck, like on gum or candy, because I think he tried to make it so people didn't see it. But he had a twitching, he had Tourette's. So, not bashing him there. He had Tourette's. So, yeah, they said when he was young, he had a chip on his shoulder. And the other thing, too, is all of these, like, people like Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck was involved with, who was it, Michael Knowles or Ben Shapiro? He said it recently. He said, yeah, I've known Ben since he was 13. Really, Glenn? And you knew Charlie Kirk since he was 16. What are you freaking people in the media doing with these kids? What are you doing with young kids like that? You're mentoring them? For what, this? For this radicalization on the right? Yeah. So, until somebody actually wants to call the truth out, I don't have any respect for any of it. And she'll continue to run her army, and that will become inevitably what any president will have to focus on. So, unless you're a college-age student, it's kind of pointless to vote. It's my opinion.